Assalamu alaikum, everyone. How are you? My apologies for running late. Today we're going to talk about Nosana and whether or not there is still a 5 to 10x left in this token, especially considering it has run quite substantially as of late. In fact, I think in the last week it's up. Let me check here. It is up, I think, at least 100%, if not more. So yeah, we're up just over 100% on this token. So let's talk about whether there's still juice left in this squeeze. As always, this is not financial advice. Be sure to do your own due diligence before making any investing decisions. All right, so my philosophy with regards to investing, and especially as it relates to crypto, is that if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And this is what we'll be keeping in mind when we're looking at Nosana. There are two things that make something a hell yes in the crypto world. Well, actually three. Number one, it has to be halal, right? It has to actually not be trying to do something that is objectionable from a Sharia perspective. Number two, it has to have a good story, has the utility behind it, has to make sense, even if it's not launched yet, if it's in testnet, not mainnet, it's not generating fees yet. Even if that's the case, the story has to make sense and it has to be, in line with the times that we're in. And number three is tokenomics. You have to have the tokenomics of the project support price increase. You can't just have infinite dilution. I don't care about how much utility you have. So those three things have to be present in any crypto project. So as it relates to Nosana, the utility is, and this will inform our judgment regarding whether it's halal or not. The utility is to enable people with idle hardware, and by people, I'm talking about individuals, miners, businesses, enable them to use the idle hardware that they have, rent that out. If they have any processing power that they're not using, rent that out to a decentralized network, enable others who need that processing power to use it, and reward those who contribute processing power to the network, reward them with Nosana tokens. So this makes a lot of sense to me, right? The theme of the current times that we live in are very much AI centric. So there's a lot of work around AI. There's a lot of demand for AI processing power. As proof of that, you need only look at NVIDIA's stock price and their profits and how much they've run up. So there's a shortage of processing power. The story about artificial intelligence is one that is playing out as we speak, and it's only going to become more profound with time. And so this shortage in processing power isn't going away anytime soon. And therefore, solutions like Nosana that enable people to rent out their idle processing power make a lot of sense. So the story is coherent. I saw a tweet that summarized this really well as it relates to GPUs. The processing power, basically. So AI needs GPUs. GPUs don't necessarily need AI. GPU power can be used for all kinds of things, even beyond just AI. Now, but I think by far AI is going to be the lion's share of GPU usage in the actually short and long term. So GPU rental can be used for AI, machine learning, rendering, mining, and so much more. NVIDIA chip shortage will also be bullish for GPU rental. So the chip shortage, as we mentioned, that we're seeing play out is pushing others towards solutions where processing power is pooled together and it's rented out, and that makes a whole lot of sense. So why will people use it? Why will people use this particular provider of GPU power? Well, the The cost is one incentive, right? Uh, Accessibility is another, obviously, because as we mentioned, there is a shortage, but the cost is yet another incentive. So uh, the the cost of GPU power that you're going to get from the Nosana network is estimated to be 85% less than if you were going from a sort of centralized distributor of that power, or actually trying to buy the chips and have the power owned directly by you. And why will people support the network? Well, they can earn some money, get some return from that idle processing power that they have. So, of course, they're going to want to use something that they own that they aren't earning any money from, and it's just sitting idly. They're not getting any use from it. Now, currently, if you were to compare the returns that you can get from basically connecting your hardware to the Nosana network versus, let's say, using it for mining, the returns should be around 10 to 15x more what you'll get if you are connected into the Nosana grid. So that's as it relates to utility. And as I mentioned, it does seem like, okay, is the story coherent? They're definitely on the sort of theme of the time, which is artificial intelligence. It makes sense for people to supply processing power to the Nosana grid. It makes sense for people to use processing power on the Nosana grid. And we know that the need for processing power is present. It's not a myth. It's not hypothetical. It's very real. It's very real, as is evidenced by the chip shortage that we see, perhaps manifested most clearly with the profits that NVIDIA has been able to achieve as of late. The third, so this takes care of the story and the Sharia compliance. The Sharia compliance here relates to, okay, what is the utility? And the utility is not something that I see any sort of Sharia objections to. The third consideration that we want to look at is tokenomics, and Nosana has a really solid tokenomics in that they have a hard cap of 100 million, with more than 80 million already released. So we know that there's not going to be substantial dilution anytime soon. Not only that, what makes this even more compelling to me is the fact that 26% of Nosana tokens are actually being staked. And this is as of February 12th. Right now it's February 14th. So 26% of circulating supply is being staked. And staking helps the network, it helps security, it helps with the reliability of the network. And as far as price is concerned, staking helps with the taking tokens off of the market and basically decreasing supply, while demand is supposed to increase as the demand for GPU power increases. So added to the hard cap they have of 100 million, and the fact that 80% of that is already released, you have the additional bullish force for the price of Nosana, in that they have a very strong staking program with 26% of the circulating supply already being staked. So all of this spells for a very solid project in terms of cryptocurrencies. Now, I did also look at their GitHub repository, and there's definitely a lot of activity there. So you know that this is something that is being worked on. Now, a risk about this project is that it's still in testnet. It hasn't actually reached full production mainnet yet, and therefore there aren't any fees or revenues that you can use to actually provide a more objective valuation for the project. However, what we can do is we can look at comparable projects. So Render, which was on Ethereum and actually moved to Solana, and it provides a very similar use case. So GPU rental, they've reached close to 2 billion market cap, whereas the Nosana market cap is still south of 300 million. So there is definitely a 5 to 10x potential here, just given the space that the project is in. And both projects being built on Solana, which I think is advantageous for these projects. So there's definitely room to run here. So I've decided to add some Nosana to the PIF portfolios, which you can follow by becoming a PIF member. Now, I don't like to chase. The Nosana price has gone up, as I mentioned, more than 100% in the last 7 days. So I will try to add opportunistically here, even though I do think that there's still ample room to run. And I should say that these crypto projects are extremely high in risk. So don't invest any money that you can't afford to lose. Definitely make sure that you aren't making these types of crypto projects a substantial portion of your portfolio. I don't think they are actually qualified to be a substantial portion of an investor's portfolio, considering that they are still extremely high risk. If you just take the fact that Nosana is in testnet right now, and yes, it does have favorable tokenomics. It does have a very coherent utility, makes sense. All of that, we're in the start of, or I shouldn't say start, but we're in at least like the third inning, let's say, of the bull run. But there's still some room to run here. Even despite that, we're still not talking about revenues or fees that they're collecting or anything like that. So I think that you should approach it with caution. But I do find Nosana to be worthy of dabbling into as an investment, and that's why I will be adding it to our PIF crypto portfolio. Salam Yasser, nice to see you. Yes, indeed, the staking does pump price. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. Best way to safely buy Nosana while living in the USA? Good question. I'm glad you brought this up. So they actually don't have it on Coinbase. So what I'm going to do is I use a Phantom wallet. So I have a Phantom wallet, and I will connect my Phantom wallet to Radium and use Radium to actually buy Nosana. So Radium.io, connect your Phantom wallet to it, and you can buy there. So there are a number of different tutorials online that you can use to figure out that process. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum, and peace be upon you all.